Hello, my name is Jordan Harrington Jones. I am the founder of Better Business Detroit, a part of the Raising the Standard series. Today I have with me Miss Ashley, who is a therapist, a social worker, and an overall good influence and a positive influencer in our community. So we're going to learn a little bit more about her today, and I'm going to start with Ashley. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. I grew up in Detroit. I was raised in like the 7 Mile Gratiot area. I've lived in Detroit my whole upbringing. Straight from high school, I went to college, went to Eastern Michigan for social work, and then I went back for my master's degree in social work. I've done a lot of different things within the community. At first, I primarily worked in Wayne County, so student advocacy within Wayne County, prison pipeline, juvenile justice, adult criminal justice system. And then I started working in community mental health. And then I started working in school systems. And now I do private practice and school systems together.
Your
So,
resume is like 2 pages long.
yeah.
That's beautiful because you mastered that and you mastered a lot of different things. Could you tell us what it was like growing up in Detroit and how did your environment influence your passion for social work?
Yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in like 7 Mile Gratiot area, so it wasn't the best. It was better than what it is right now, but it wasn't the best. So I've probably seen some things that kids shouldn't see necessarily. And I've seen like friends go to jail. I've seen friends get killed. And mind you, at this time, I'm like high school, middle school aged. So just seeing those different types of things made me want to help and see what is it I can do to make sure that these young boys don't grow up and continue down this path. When I talk about the school to prison pipeline, that's pretty much what that is. Like these black boys are in the school system and eventually they're funneled out, whether suspension, expulsion, failing, and they end up in prison as they get older. So that was like my passion growing up. What can I do to mitigate that situation? And that's how I came into social work.
That's definitely a blessing. So when you just said that, I thought about a lot of Detroit organizations that are stepping up to make changes in our neighborhood. So I just recently learned about Pursue Action, Forest in Detroit.
I've heard of
It's
Forest.
a bunch of different organizations. New Era Detroit,
Yeah.
where you see men standing up, but it would be cool to have extra service where you have a young lady that worked with men and know what it's like to be in that environment where it's still masculine energy, but we are still
Yeah.
helping to guide them into a right direction because it's a lot of negative influences out here and it's so easy to get pulled down into trying to make
Yeah,
money
for
and
sure.
fast money. Life is hard, so that's very commendable.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
you worked in settings like foster care, juvenile justice, and mental health. What have these experiences taught you about the needs of our communities?
I think the main thing is that the field, like all of those that you mentioned, is like overwhelmed, understaffed. We need more resources. It's not enough resources for the amount of need that we have in those areas. And overall, just learning that we need to let these people in these different settings know that they are valued, they're appreciated, they're seen, they're heard, all those different things. And that's how we facilitate growth and helping them move forward and helping them see the positivity in life.
Yes, so I know a lot of things. Like as a resident, I'm starting to become more civically engaged, and I see that a lot of it boils down to funding. So
Yeah,
yes, we have acts as residents, but then I think what's more important than livelihood and our
right.
children is I'm sure it's some type of negotiation that we can come to where we can make sure that the needs are met. And what is it that we truly feel our needs more so than what the government feel like we need? Because at the federal level, it seems like health benefits are being or Head Start, Jobs Corps, and it's like,
The things that we really need.
yeah, are we serious? So I'm just really making an effort to be more civically engaged at a local because they are our voice at the federal level. Maybe they can speak on to what Detroit needs, considering that we are a area of high crime and we also bring a lot of revenue. We have a lot of good things that's going on in Detroit. And I think that the NFL draft was a great example of how
Yeah,
we
for
can come
sure.
together as a community, but we need to come together all the time and not just when we have like guests. It was always money in the room. We just never know who we're talking to. What's something you wish more people understood about the field of social work or therapy?
Let's break that into two separate things. So, social work, I wish people understood that like social work is more than just taking people kids, and social workers aren't like CPS workers. They aren't the same thing. So anyone can be a CPS worker as long as you have a bachelor's degree pretty much. But people typically associate, oh, you're a social worker, so you're the one that take people kids, or you work for CPS. But social work is so like multi-faced. Like you can work in the juvenile justice, adult criminal justice, you can work in the police department, schools, financial institutions. Like social work is pretty much in every establishment. So that's the first thing I would want people to know. Like it's very dynamic, and pretty much look as a social worker as someone that's trying to help you in whatever that little field is that they may be in. That's pretty much the goal, to help you with a peace of mind, to help you with growth, all those different things.
To be your support,
Right.
whatever it is. Okay, and that's a great way of explaining it, because that just even made me think about it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
When I think of social worker, I think of DHS, food support.
Right. Which most people do.
Yeah, it's just good when you put into that perspective that a school should have a social worker, a business could have a social worker to support their employees.
Yeah.
So,
And it's kind of like that bridge between how we were just talking about, oh, yeah, I need to build my network some more. It's like that bridge between an individual and community resources, or an individual and different supports they may need. So it's like that network within whatever the field is.
okay. And what are some things we wish people understood about therapy? So I'll say, when you say, oh, I'm going to therapy, or would you consider therapy, people think that you're calling them crazy. And it's no, it's not saying that you have to have a mental diagnosis
Right.
or an issue. It's just that I look at a therapist now as a safe place to be, because you can't tell everybody your business
Right.
secrets. I expect you to tell one person. If I tell you something, I expect them to tell one person. But a professional, your information is safe, and they are there
Right.
to not even direct you on what to do, just to guide you and help you do the self work.
Yeah.
But what different stigmas or things that you heard that maybe need to be changed about the perception of therapy?
Yeah, so I think you made a good point, which is what I always tell people. I'm not telling you what to do. You're telling you what to do, and I'm just talking you through it. So that's pretty much how therapy works. People think, oh, I'm going to go to therapy and they're going to give me the answers and help me figure this out. It's more so I'm helping you figure it out. I do a lot of, so I'm hearing you say this. What does that mean to you? Or just trying to get you to understand what it is you're saying and what it is that you're thinking. And I do a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you feel like, so pretty much just everything you're telling me, throwing it back on you. As far as the stigma go, I feel like the stigma is really deeply rooted within the Black community, that if you go to therapy, something is wrong with you. I hear that all the time with my Black clients, specifically if I have a child and it's a parent and a father and a mother. One is on board, one is not. They're like, oh, my kid isn't crazy. My kid don't need help. I'm like, I think everyone can benefit from therapy. You don't have to have a problem to come to therapy. It's more so having that neutral party to talk to, that your secrets are safe. It's not going to get back out. This person don't know you, so you feel comfortable telling them things that you may not feel comfortable telling your best friend or your mom. So it's just that safe space to be able to process, is what I would say. Process through those things that you may be dealing with and explore more options of how you can deal with things.
Because I have experience with a therapist. I went through a miscarriage back in 2022, and it was one of the roughest times in my life, to where it was like, I didn't want to talk to nobody, but it would have helped if I had someone to talk to.
Right.
Like on the outside, it was like, don't leave me alone. But I was really like, dang, you're not going to stop by and make So sometimes people need that extra push, and a therapist sometimes can pull it out of you. But I think that from my experience, I would say choosing the right therapist helps.
Yep.
So initially, after that experience of losing children, my therapist was a Caucasian male who doesn't have any children. So there was no relatability, even though he did have the professional certifications. He wasn't the right therapist for me. And then I compared that to having a Black female that was around my age to relate to the struggles of being a Black woman, living in Detroit, not having children, and just what people like project their own opinions and their own values and their own expectations on you, and how hard that can be sometimes. So that definitely made me look at therapy. Okay, I'm not just paying somebody to listen to me. You actually can provide some type of value and some guy. I actually believe what you're saying, because I know that you may have went through something similar. So I think that is great. And that leads me to my next question. Why is it important to you to create safe spaces specifically for Black girls and women?
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on some stuff that you said with within that, before that last question too, just like choosing the right therapist, that is huge. And that's one reason why a lot of people shy away from therapy, because they have that one experience similar to church, buying a car, buying a house. You have that one bad experience, you're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it anymore. But finding the right therapist is super important. Whether representation is important to you, whether lived experiences is important to you, whether it's the credentials and the experience, whatever it is that's important to you, it's important for you to find that person and that connection. So making sure you actually do connect with that person. So I always tell people, interview me, ask me questions, like treat me like this is a job that I'm applying for and you're the employer. That's how you have to treat it, so you can see if it is a good fit.
Yeah.
And when it comes to creating a safe space for Black girls and women, I feel like society, or just in our generation in general, generations and generations have put it to where Black women are taught to be strong, or you're okay, you can do this, you're so strong, you're so this, you're so that. And it's like their emotions are ignored most of the time. So they don't even really know how to feel and how to have these emotions. Anytime they go through something, it's just, okay, I got to suck it up. I got to put that behind me. I got to keep going. When it shouldn't really be that way. It should be, you should be able to feel your emotions, and you should be able to have that safe space to be able to say, I'm not okay, and feel heard and seen, because a lot of times it's dismissed. Oh, you're okay. You did this before. You did that before. No, having that safe space to be able to say, I'm not okay. And I always tell people, it's okay not to be okay, but let's figure out how to get back to a place where we were in a better mind space.
I think that's a really big deal. I think that we do have examples of where, again, we can come together as a community and men could support women, because we are used to being nurturing and just motherly to others around us. But a lot of times it's who come pick me up when I'm just overwhelmed or I'm so empty after giving everything I got. We do need to bring it to the forefront that we need love, we need it back. And you may show it in a different way, and that's okay, but just having the consistency or the presence, it helps a lot. So I can be superwoman. I might be superwoman to everybody outside, but in the house is a safe space, and it's okay, I need to recharge, be poured into. I think that's great conversations that we need to have more of. Why is it, or what drives your passion for encouraging more Black men to enter the mental health field?
So pretty much what I talked about before, or I don't know if I touched on it, but it's no real representation for Black men within mental health. And when I say representation, other Black men, it's far in between to find men in general in mental health therapists, but finding a Black man is like even harder. It's like a needle in a haystack, which causes men to shy away from therapy even more. I feel as Black women, yes, we can talk to Black men, but I feel like Black men are supposed to be the leaders. They are supposed to lead us. So they're not receiving that information from us the same way they would from another Black man. And I also feel Black men within the mental health field, they're just so powerful and encouraging. They be having me motivated. It's just like they have a strength to them that I can't really describe, that us women don't really have. And it's very powerful. And Black boys and men, they just need that representation of someone who is taking care of their emotional health, someone who is emotionally mature, emotionally intelligent, someone who does think before reacting, and just teaching those different things within our boys and men, because it's really, I feel like there's a lack of that right now in this generation coming up. Everyone is so emotional, so quick to react, and just having that representation and let you know this is not the way to do it. There's a better way.
Balance and taking what you know and making your own perception and owning up to who you are. I think that's a really big thing, because as I get older, it's a lot of lessons from my mom or for school, and it was like I'm just now really applying it. So we need to be good role models, and I think it is important that a young Black boy have a Black male figure that he can look up to. I think that would make a big difference in our communities.
For sure.
And I'm happy to be seeing more of that in real life. There's a lot of organizations that I still might not know about, but there are some that are really doing the work, and they're consistent, and that is amazing.
I do want to say something to that really quick. Now that since we're on that subject, my church that I go to, which is in Roseville, they do have a program for young boys. I forgot the name of the program, but it's every Monday, and it's Black male mentors, and they work with the male boys in the community and pretty much teach them manners, how to treat women, how to dress properly, all those different things. That is definitely a good resource to use. You know, you have Black sons, or even if you just know Black boys within the community that need that support or don't have the father figure or role model, sending them there. That's really good. With Pastor Mike, he's really good.
Okay, we got to share that information because Roseville is not that far.
Yeah,
So
it's like a 10-minute drive to Detroit.
okay. What are some of the biggest barriers you see when it comes to people in our community seeking therapy?
I would say access, like we were just talking about, finding a Black male therapist is a needle in a haystack. So access, me personally, I have a long wait list because they're like, I can't never find a Black therapist, or I can never find a therapist that do this or do that. So access to what they need is very hard, as like funds. So therapy isn't cheap. I want to say the average cost of therapy is, let's just say on the low end, 100, on the high end like 250. So it's not cheap. So imagine if you don't have insurance that pay for it, and then you have this big lump sum of money that you have to pay up front. So that's a big issue, just having the funds for it, the access to it, and then just knowing the knowledge of knowing, how do I find a therapist? A lot of people don't even know, like, how do you find a therapist? Like, how does that process work?
Working for the state of Michigan, I took full advantage of all of my benefits, and I started telling my people, like, did you know you can go to the chiropractor? Do you know you can?
Yeah.
I started doing anything and just sharing that. Sometimes you contact the insurance company and they can refer you to a directory of primary care doctors or therapists or different services that you know about.
Yeah.
We just gotta ask. But that's why I'm making it my mission to put that stuff out there so people don't have to ask. So you can see this, and I'm letting you know this available. So I'm trying to find all of the different resources and just put it out there so they can get to the people that really need it. I know that there are some different organizations that do more of the mental workshops and like free clinics.
Yeah.
And just need to put that in the area that, like I said, is accessible, that is not getting filtered and overlooked by all of the negative things that gets more favor in the algorithm. So that's what we're doing. How do you help people believe that healing is possible even after deep trauma?
So I do a lot of self-disclosing. So that was like one of those things where I said, whether you're looking for someone who like have lived experience. So that works with a lot of people because they'll see you like in your current state and can't believe like where you came from. And that in itself can motivate them to know that I can grow past this. I also let people know that healing isn't a linear process. So a lot of people think that healing is A, B, C. I do this, I do that, I'm healed. Where healing is up and down. Some days you'll have your ups, some days you'll have your downs, and that's okay. Healing one day may look like laying in the bed all day to you eating ice cream. That's okay. The next day it may look like being productive. That's okay. So just like letting them know that's okay. And that healing isn't a linear process. It's a process. It can take years, it can take months, it can take weeks. It really just depends on you, and we can go at your pace.
What does the word restoration mean to you in the context of your work?
So just letting people know that returning back to a state of functioning where you were okay is possible. So taking back your peace that was stolen from you, taking back your trust that may have been stolen from you, taking back your joy, like whatever it is that you feel like you no longer have, it's possible to get back to that state of functioning, of being okay and being able to function the way that you want to function, the way that you feel is making you happy, those different types of things.
What role do you think mental health plays in someone's ability to succeed in the workforce, especially young people trying to break generational curses?
Mental health is, and I think people overlook it, but it's like the main thing that plays a factor in the workforce because it controls your ability to be quick to react to something, because you're going to have those coworkers that's going to try you. And do you have the emotional regulation to stop, think, walk away, or are you going to be quick to react? It controls your ability to meet those deadlines and stay on task, because if you have a lot going on within your brain, within your head, if you're always thinking about something, or if you're not feeling your best, it's going to cause you to have that fog brain and forget things and not meet deadlines, or just not even have the motivation to do anything. Communication, that plays a part in being able to have good work ethic, being able to communicate. Someone made you mad, are you going to shut down, or are you going to go and communicate? Are you going to speak to the supervisor? Just all those different things. So having good mental health qualities within the workforce is super important because it plays a role in everything that you're going to do at work.
I appreciate you. And that just about wraps it up. I got a couple more questions just so the audience can get to know you and how they can get in contact with you and maybe get added to your wait list. Or I don't know if you refer people to different therapists. I want to know, are you accepting more clients, new clients?
Yes, I'm always accepting clients. I do have a wait list. However, depending on like the need, because I'm just passionate about helping people, because I know how it feels to be in a place where you feel like you're alone, you're isolated, you don't have anybody. So depending on what the need is. So if someone is in crisis, then I will just squeeze them in or I'll refer them out to someone. So I do have other therapists that I know, and I typically will refer out to my other Black therapists, depending on what the need is. Again, I don't know any male Black therapists, so connecting me with some, that would always be great. But yeah, so I'm always taking new clients in that sense and pretty much just add them to the wait list as spots become available. As people feel like they don't need therapy anymore, then I go and I reach out to those people and see if they're ready for therapy.
Okay. Where can people find more info about your services and reach out to you?
So you can Google me. We can put it that way because that would be simpler. So if you Google therapist Ashley Collins and just scroll until you see my face, that's how you can find me. But I'm also on TikTok and I post little like information pieces on there. What is my TikTok? Let me see. I think it's Millennial Therapist.
Okay. Definitely got to push that out there. TikTok is a fun platform compared to Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I love TikTok.
It's a little less formal, and then it's more community. I see a lot of girls on TikTok, and it's just okay.
Yeah, so my TikTok is, I think my username is brownie.brow, but my name on there is Millennial Therapist.
Okay. We can drop all that information.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how to get a hold of me. Like I said, whatever to help, especially the girls. That's like my passion, young girls and women, whatever to help them prevail, be successful. We don't want women and girls crashing out. We're not doing that. We don't want crashing out. We don't want stalking. We don't want busting out windows. We want them to be able to walk away with their head held high in situations, and not even necessarily romantic situations, but everything. You know how we have that reputation as Black women, like you say the wrong thing to us, we're gonna but they don't know people provoke us. But just learning how to, especially in the workforce, be just as passive aggressive as the other person, and that's where emotional intelligence come in, being able to regulate your emotions, put it all together and come up with a response that set them straight but is professional. So just like getting a hold of them, because I feel like the generation is going down the wrong path in regards to everyone being snappy and everyone wanting to fight and everyone saying don't play with me, and just learning how to be young ladies and just walk away from those situations tastefully.
I do have one bonus question. This is a question asking for a friend, but really asking for me. As a woman that take on a lot of other people's just dreams and ambitions and making them my own and spreading myself thin, I struggle with recharging and relaxing. So a therapist, she's like, how do you relax? And I'm like, I can't think of another way that doesn't involve somebody else or doing things. It's like I enjoy helping others, but that doesn't help me relax. So for you, someone that literally does that for a living, you hear a lot of people problems, naturally want to solve them. How do you separate, detach, and say, okay, this time is for Ashley, I need to relax?
Yeah, that is a struggle. I feel like anyone who's passionate, that's a struggle. That was a struggle for me. It's not anymore. I've learned as I've gotten older. Like I said, I've been in the field for about 10 years. So since I was about 21 is when I started. And anytime something happens, I'm just always, what can I do to help them? And then I think about it at home. And then I think it's just, I'm always thinking about what can I do to help this situation? So I had to learn to detach. So one of my rules is leave work at work unless it's a crisis. So because I'm a therapist, if it's a crisis, I always tell them, you guys can text me if it's life or death. But if it's not life or death, do not text me. Yeah. So just giving them the space to do that, but leaving work at home, leaving work at work, and home at home, creating space for me to have my alone time. I have 2 children, So locking them out my room sometimes and just watching my shows and just basking in my own time. I do a lot of self dates, solo dates, going out by myself and just treating myself. I do a lot of self-care, and it's like you have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Clear your mind, because if you don't, you may go crazy. You're going to drain yourself and your body's going to shut down. So you have to force it. And it was hard for me at first, but within the past couple years, I want to say maybe like the past 3 years or so, about 3 years ago, I was like in this really deep depression after I had my daughter, really bad postpartum depression. And like from that point moving forward, especially being in that and still having to show up for people, like I'm fine and just things like that, it just taught me to really prioritize myself, because I never want to be in a space again to where I am like feeling defeated or feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling okay. I think it's about that time to wrap it up. And like still having to show up for people. So just I had to learn to separate the two and prioritize me. I always tell people this theory that one of my professors told me, which was the airplane method. So if you're on an airplane, they tell you if anything happens, put your mask on first and then help people around you. Even if it's your kids, put yours on first. And I just keep that in my mind. I can't help anyone if I'm not helping myself. So I got to help me first and then I can help them.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Postpartum is a whole segment in itself.
Yeah.
I took a doula class in Southfield a couple days ago, and it was good seeing that fathers or men that wasn't even fathers taking this course just to see what a woman goes through during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then two, the postpartum isn't just like immediately after the baby. I think it's like the first year, or it could be longer because you're trying to get back to who you were before and owning who you are now. So this was like, that's a whole class, and maybe that's a discussion we could talk about later for just women that need some help. Just recently,
it's definitely overlooked, and I think having men be a part of that conversation or just the audience is really good, because I think that's especially married women, like men don't see it and people don't understand what they can't see. So if they don't physically see that she's not okay, they think she's okay.
And even if you don't say it, you ain't say nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not as happy as I'm used to. And it's, at the end of the day, like you said, we got to put our own mask on. We have to speak up if something is bothering us or if we're not liking the way we're being treated. And we need to apply that to just about anything in life. I do appreciate you for taking out this time. I'm very excited.
I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. I can't wait until Monday. We're going to be at the Coleman A. Young Rec Center. It is from 6:30 until 7:30. And I just want to use that time to put this on the platform, put this on people's Instagram feeds and TikTok or whatever, to let people know that there is a community out there, and we have to include professionals into our community for our own sanity, for our own balance, whether it's the workplace, whether it's schools, whether it's just different organizations.
Definitely.
So at this time, I want you to shout out your Detroit brands, organizations, leaders, supporters, anything Detroit that you feel like people need to know more about that's positive that we need to put out there.
So I can't really think of anything at the top of my head because I have a lot going on in my head. However, I will say that my church, again, that program is really good. It's not necessarily located within Detroit. However, they do go all around. They are one of those churches that go all around. So it's not just located within Detroit. And it's that mentoring program where they do take boys within the community and mentor them. I believe it's a bus for it too.
Okay. So that's mobile. Even though the church is in Roseville. That's cool. That's still a resource because they're willing to cross those city lines. And then, like I said, people can go there. When we want something or when it's a priority, we make it happen. Yeah. So we need to make mental health a priority.
It definitely needs to be a priority for sure. It's mental health, especially within Detroit, and I think about it all the time, like the mental health. Imagine if all of these people were like mentally or emotionally mature, like how much more could be done within the city of Detroit. So it's definitely one of just the different things I see, the fights, just the different things. Yeah, we need to amp up our mental health.
It's not okay. We got to find ways to have safe, fun.
Yeah.
So I went to a Crowd Freak event, which I usually wouldn't go to like large crowds because we know what kind of happens when you go to a large crowd event in Detroit. But it was in Highland Park. Shout out to Mama Shu. I've mastered making that a safe place, respectable, clean up after you leave. You'll have your fun. You can still turn up. And it was
Right.
a huge turnout, and I didn't hear of any negative interaction. So it was like, how do we do that more regularly, where we can get a large group of people together and still go home the same way we came, if not better.
Definitely.
That's the mission. I do appreciate you.
And I was gonna say, just be good people all the time, because you never know. You never know who you're sitting in the room with.
Yeah. Or what they can do for you, which rooms they can bring you into, or just like the names. I was telling a young lady that plays the harp. I was in Ferndale yesterday at a networking event and just talking about my series. I mentioned at the first class I'm going to have somebody there playing the harp, and their ears went up. It was like, oh, I can't wait to meet her. And it's like, I brought her with me even though she wasn't there, and she was.
Right.
You wouldn't even think, huh? This person is expecting you, so you gotta be on your best behavior, your best presentation of yourself, because that can open up opportunities to whatever it is that you need.
Right.
I don't know how to get there, so I do appreciate you. I'm so happy that you agreed to be a part of the series and
Of
to
course.
speak, and
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, keep in touch, because like I said before, I'm definitely interested in helping in whatever way I can, like within the community, outside of this, however far it goes, like just helping in whatever way I can, because we definitely need to build up the community. And just seeing like where it was when I was younger and where it is now, it's just sad to see.
And our
Definitely.
voices matter as young people. We don't have to be a politician to make a change.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You don't have to have a title to be a leader. You could be a leader at your business, but you
Yeah.
are delegating things for your community. We need to keep littering away from our businesses. Eyesore. It doesn't look good to the customers coming here. Just letting people know that it's, oh, I didn't think about it I didn't think about it. So I'm just trying to encourage more of, and for what I see, and I'm trying to use my platform, because I'm not going to be on social media if it's not to learn, to teach, to support. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.
Absolutely.